I mean, before this, like you're talking about, you just won your pro card in 2020, and that was like what 25 years without getting a pro card. What was that journey like for you? Because I'm 27, so that's almost my entire life of just trying to get. I mean, I can't imagine what that felt like when you finally won that pro card.
You know what is so weird? When I was like 26 years old, one of my dear friends, he was a clairvoyant and he's like, "Let me read your cards." And I'm like, "Okay, cool, let's just go to lunch." He told me, "You are going to be famous in the fitness industry." And then he's like, "But," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "It's going to take a very, very, very long time." And I was like, "Who's got time for that? I don't got time for that." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You're full of shit." And then obviously he was not. So, I mean, when I
Does
think
he have any
about it,
stock advice for me or anything like that?
I know, right? He did tell me also things about my brother that were true. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." The guy obviously knows what he's doing. But he also told my friend that she was pregnant before she even knew she was pregnant. So I knew that there was something to what he was saying. And then when I think about what my journey has been like, I always think of him. And I wish I was still in touch with him. But yeah, it's really something because I feel like my journey is not over. That I'm supposed to be sharing my story to help others along this journey because it's just been my life. Luckily, I love the sport so much that I never want to be out of it. You know what I mean? I might not compete, but I don't ever want to be not involved in the sport in some way. So I just love it. I love watching the girls change. I'm not so much into the men's as a sport anymore. I'm more because there's so many women divisions now. I'm like immersed in it every day. I'm looking at these girls and they're my motivation right now. They're like 25 years younger than me, but they're motivating me and it's because I love it so much, you know?
What was the biggest thing the judges were telling you for 25 years was the reason why you weren't getting your pro card? That's the thing I wanna know most.
Well, for a while there the NPC was a little shady. And I'm sure a lot of people could say that, but they cleaned house, got their shit together, and now I must say the NPC and the IFBB, they're awesome. I mean, I've been in this sport for 20, maybe 26 years now, and I've seen things that people probably will never believe or will never see. I know so many people in the sport that are now coaches. Um, but for 25 years, here's the process. I was doing fitness for a portion of that. I was young and I kept getting more and more muscular and leaner and leaner. And they're like, you need to just do bodybuilding. At that point, I didn't want to do bodybuilding. That wasn't the look I was going for. I was really feminine, and all the female bodybuilders seemed to have a more tomboyish look and more masculine look. And I was like, that's not really me. I don't think that that's going to be good for me. And they're like, no, but it'll be good for our sport, right? They're looking out for the sport. They wanted to get more women into female bodybuilding. I got it. I understood. So I was only placing like sixth, seventh, eighth in fitness. And I wanted to win. I was like so motivated then. I don't know where I got the energy, but I was like, I wanted to win. And at that point, I was like, okay, let me go do bodybuilding. So I got into my first show. I believe the USA's in the early 90s, and I took third. And I had a great look. I had great posing, but I just wasn't shredded. I wasn't willing to do what I needed to do to get shredded, and I thought, well, if I can sit around second, third, for top five and just do what I'm doing now, I'll be happy with that for a while because I am getting a lot of marketing, publicity, and I was making money. And that's really what was like keeping me going. And then after a while, I bought my house, I was doing real well, everything was going great. The sport was changing. They got rid of some judges and expediters and all that. it evolved. It actually got better. And then finally, my mom passed away a few years ago. And the one thing she was saying is, you need to finish that. You need to go back and get your pro card. Because I was taking care of her. And when you take care of your mom, you bring cookies in the house, you bring pizzas in the house, you you do things for your mom that make her happy, right? So it was a little harder for me to focus. I was carrying a little bit more weight then. But then after she passed, I was like, I cleaned house, got back to my way of living, and I was like, wow, I'm getting so lean and I'm not even doing anything. So I talked to a medium because I needed some closure. And when I did that, my mom came through like crazy and she's like, you need to go do this. You need to finish this. And that year, boom, I did it. And it was like, it came so easy to me. It was amazing. And I feel like it was my mom watching over me, you know? So um, I also immersed myself in it. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to bring a package this year that I probably won't be happy with because I'm just going to go with what the judges need for me to turn pro. None of this anymore. I'm not going to come and look my pretty best or feminine best. I'm just going to go with what I know that I need to do to turn pro. So I did. I came down to 125, which, oh God, I don't ever want to be 125, but I did. I turned pro. I got 5 pro cards, which is unheard of. And then I went into my first pro show at 125, 126. And let me tell you something, my coach was not happy. He was like, what are you thinking? Are you crazy? And I'm like, maybe I'm crazy, but the thing is, I don't know what's going to happen after this year. I knew I was having some issues with my leg. I didn't know, you never know what's going to happen, right? So I was like, listen, I can go from a flight from here to Atlanta, get on stage in 3 days, and at least say I did a pro show. So I did. He suggested I do bodybuilding. I wanted to do women's physique, but bodybuilding was where Wings of Strength has stepped in, and so he was kind of like pushing, thinking that would be a more good for a career move. But for me, I'm like, I want a place. But I listened to him, and now I'm kind of kicking myself because I did okay. I was shredded, but I did not have the size. I knew that. Everybody knew that that was there. I couldn't eat the size on. My metabolism, my adrenaline was going from earning 5 pro cards. I was just burning everything up that I ate. I was eating so much food, I couldn't even put more weight on. When I got to the show, I was so excited to be there backstage. My adrenaline was going and I was just still burning calories. Like I thought I looked great, but by the time I got on stage, my legs were like I felt like they were kind of gone. I felt like I was going flat. But my adrenaline was pumping. So I said to my coach, I'm like, you know what? I need to cheat a lot more on if my adrenaline's going that hard. But it could have just been everything with me getting the 5 pro cards. You know, you're on a high for like weeks, right? So anyway, looking back, I think I should have done women's physique. I probably would have placed higher. I would have fit in a little bit better, but it at this point, I'm just so happy I did the show. I was able to see how it was run. The pro shows are awesome. That Chicago Pro show is an amazing show. So I would do that again in a heartbeat. But the other thing I learned um, through turning pro is that you need to do your homework. You need to find out who the judges are that are going to be judging you. And some judges love mass and some judges love aesthetics. Well, I need to be in front of those judges that love aesthetics because I am not trying to be massive. It's just not my look. It never has been. I don't have an off season. I'm pretty much in shape year round. I go for the more feminine year round look where I could get on a photo shoot or do anything year round. So for me, I probably would have gotten my pro card sooner if I did more homework and realized, okay, it's not just how great I look, it's what the judges are actually looking for. So it's one of those things where when a sport comes, when the IFBB and the NPC come out with a new division, I have learned over the years that that new division, they're going to start them smaller. The first, second year, they're going to want your lower weight. So when women's physique first came out, they wanted the girls around 116, 117. I come into my first women's physique show from bodybuilding at 142. And I was like, wow, this is insane. They still placed me like seventh. I couldn't believe that they even placed me seventh. But I do have a lot of good things going for me. My posing, my routines, my um, I guess my shape and everything. But the girls that were winning were 116. One of them was my client. I had brought her into the show and I was like, I'm just going to jump in the show for marketing purposes. And then I did like 2 days of photo shoots and made like $3,000. So for me, that's how I would like go about my career in bodybuilding to sustain it. But anyway, uh, over the years, I had not been listening to what I needed to listen to as far as the what the judges wanted, and I think that was what was prolonging me from getting my pro card right away.
I mean, because like I've looked at some of those old videos that you post on your YouTube, and I was like, how is she not like giving the Olympia a run for her money, basically at this point? So that's and but the thing that I love most about that story of yours is that I have so many guests on here that they either win their pro card in their first show or they win it within like their first year, and they don't seem to appreciate it as much as the people that it really takes the time to. So